Lucinda Mims Guest. I was born March 8th, 1951 to Ozias and Julia Mims. I was the only child of my parents. And my dad came from Louisiana, my mother came from Kentucky, but she was born in Louisiana. They met here in Kansas City about 1937. Somewhere along the line, the story went that my dad won $2,000 playing. I think it was some sort of lotto game or something that they had back in the days where they ran numbers, and he played people's names. He played my name, which was my grandmother's name, his mother's. He won this money, so he decided, because he had worked in food service, to open a restaurant. The name of the restaurant was Mims Cafe. It was 1603 East 12th Street. And it was 3 doors down from 12th and Vine. And I remember those days when I got to come to 12th Street because my parents wanted to keep me away from 12th Street. So I had a set of godparents, and that was Thomas and Josephine Graves. So I just want to take a minute to talk about the school I went to. My parents, my mom was Baptist, my dad he belonged to Jameson Temple. But my godmother was Catholic, and they sent me to Catholic school because they felt that I would get a better education. So we went to St. Monica. And daily we would go to Mass at St. Joseph, and we'd walk from there to the school at St. Monica, where it is right now on Paseo, on East 19th Street. On 17th and Paseo. I stayed there until the 2nd grade because that was the beginning of the great migration of black folk moving south of Kansas City. We was allowed to move beyond 27th Street. So my parents bought a home at 39th and South Benton, and that caused me to change schools, and I started going to the school around the corner called Blessed Sacrament. I stayed at Blessed Sacrament, completed my 8th grade year, and so it was the choice of where would I go to high school. And my choice was St. Teresa's Academy. I'm a graduate in the class of 1969 from St. Teresa's Academy. My class only had 8 black students. It was all-girl private school, and there were other black girls in other classes, but there was 1 to 2. Our class seemed to have the largest amount of black students attending. During that time, there was a revolution going on in America. It was the Black Power Revolution. And I remember being able to see Stokely Carmichael and H. Rap Brown, because UMKC would put on a Black History panel every February. During that time, I got to meet people here in the city that were movers and shakers. That Bernard Powell was a very good friend, and the guys that were in SAC 20. And they did a lot of things for black people here in the city. Woke us up to the things that we didn't have to accept anymore, and because of the way that we lived. Things that I don't see now today because we're not close as a unit within the city boundaries. For the absolute right of being able to move to wherever you want to move, don't get me wrong, it's nothing wrong with that, but we don't come together as we used to that I watched growing up. My friends were kids of fairly established people here in the city. John Wells was a good friend of mine. His mom was an attorney, Gwen Wells. His dad was a doctor, John Wells. My best friend was Gail McDonald. Her dad was Dr. Bruce McDonald, that was our family doctor. They lived over on West Paseo, and on that block, there were nothing but black doctors and lawyers and psychiatrists, dentists that lived in that area. The kids that I knew and grew up with and interacted with, their parents might have done all types of work, but most of them were teachers and lawyers and doctors. My parents just happened to be cafe owners that wanted me just to have a better life. We don't see that as often now in our community. I don't know if it's because the history has not been told to us, it's not been passed down, but the information that I have is just the fact that when growing up, it was exciting to see people in our own, with our own. Because on 12th Street, I didn't have to go downtown to the dentist. I could go up the street to the dentist.
Program is brought to you by the Kansas City Business Association.